coming through, we riding, yeah, we rollin'.
Yeah, we rollin'.
Best believe we put our spite up, that's that dirty.
Yeah, that's that dirty.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Mally RT, and I'm back with another vid. As y'all can see from the title, we gonna be reacting to Modell. For those that know about King Von, T-Roy, you know, ChicagoScene88, he always get the job done. He always find these. Yo, like, I want to know that shit, bro. Like, before we start the vid, how do he find all this information? Like, is somebody telling him this shit, bro? I don't know how that works. I don't know who telling him, where he getting this information from. But before we start this vid, tell me how y'all fucking with my ponytail, man. New style, man. New style. If y'all new to the channel, make sure to hit that like. Sub to the channel if you're new. Turn the post notice so you can be notified every time I post bangers, reactions, 2K vids, videos outside of 2K, Warzone, or just make sure y'all stay in tune, bro. But without further ado, man, let's jump into the this reaction, bro. Yo.
In depth, the murder of Modell from STL.
Yo, he better not change this music. This music is legendary, like, for him telling his scenes of the stories and everything. This is like this legendary background music song. You know what I'm saying? So he better not change this.
Slash EBT.
The Modell. That's Modell right there, y'all. It's just so sad.
This is my third episode in the in-depth series, where I go into detail about selected murders. In this episode, I will tell about the murder of Modell from STL/EBT, who was shot and killed on October 13, 2012. This murder has for long been linked to King Von from a block, and I have previously stated in several videos that both Von and T-Roy were present at the murder. Today,
see, I told y'all, like I said, I watched. I don't do videos on this because personally, I feel like this is just for me to watch on my alone time. But I'm going to start getting more into just reacting to videos and posting them. But this is what I was saying. King Von was in this hit. T-Roy was in this hit. I'm not too sure who else was in the hit, because this was in King Von's story. If y'all watch King Von, y'all watched. Well, y'all know what I'm talking about. But goddamn, yeah, I find this so crazy though. Chicago, the way that they like, I don't know.
I received the murder report from the Chicago Police Department, who listed King Von as the sole shooter in the murder of Modell from STL/EBT and
because it was with his cousin Miles.
Miles. The murder report was ruled as an exceptional clearance this year in July, which means the homicide investigation is closed and the listed suspect, King Von, were the one responsible for the murder and attempted murder.
Damn, an ad already, ChicagoScene88? And it's crazy because this is the lifestyle they live, bro. And you know why I find it? I'ma pause on what I'm about to say.
Sadly, the report doesn't go too deep into what exactly happened. It wasn't much details, but I will explain it either way. Basically, Modell was standing with a group of friends, who I won't mention by name since they are all witnesses and made statements about what went down. Suddenly King Von appeared together with his right-hand man T-Roy from a block. According to witnesses, King Von then approached the group, pulled out his gun and started shooting Modell, who is believed to have been the intended target. King Von shot Modell 3 times, which caused him to collapse. The bullets from Von hit him in the upper chest, lower right arm and one in the right middle side of his back. My guess is that he didn't have time to shoot Modell more times, because just seconds later, Modell's cousin, Miles, ran up to Modell and embraced him to shield his body. That's the moment when King Von decided to shoot Miles multiple times as well. Miles got hit with multiple bullets to the upper and lower back, which resulted—
I don't know if it's just me. I just can't imagine myself getting shot, bro. That's probably like the worst for them. And y'all could just see that everybody in Chicago, they start off young, like in the streets. They start off young, bro. Well, I can't say everybody in Chicago. This is like the lifestyle now. Everybody do that now. But I just find that crazy. Like, everybody start off young. They start killing at a young age. Then on top of that, they die young too. So even, well, Chicago, that's how it is in Chicago, like hard. If they not in a route where it'll get them out of the hood, they stay in the hood and it results into this. Or they just in the mix of what's going on.
In
So it's
Miles
kinda
getting
like
paralyzed and was also in a coma for a long time before waking up. Modell, who is a documented gangster disciple from the faction STL/EBT, was only 17 years old when King Von shot him dead.
He was 17. Modell was 17, bro. I find that crazy. That
At first, when only the incident report was available for the public, many thought it was actually D-Roy who killed Modell since his description was the one written in the incident report. However, this murder report proves not only that King Von was the killer, but also that he was the only one shooting. D-Roy didn't fire any bullets according to the report. The police only found cartridges from Von's gun, which was a semi-automatic Ruger SR 9.9mm. The murder weapon King Von used were actually found 3 months later on January 11, 2013, after the police arrested a man by the name of Shaquille who was in possession of the weapon. Shaquille was of course not charged with the murder of Modell. This happens all the time in Chicago. Once guns are used in shootings or murders, they are often passed on to others or sold on the black market.
Dang.
The murder weapon could therefore not be linked to King Von with DNA evidence. However, the gun was certainly tested by the police who concluded that it matched the murder weapon in the Modell case.
That's really crazy, yo.
What actually connected the murder to King Von was the witnesses who identified King Von as the lone shooter in the case. I will of course not disclose any identity of the witnesses, however I can say what they stated. On October 13, 2012, Detective G. Jones and R. Garcia reported that Miles, who is Modell's cousin, was standing inside a front gate at 6344 South Rhodes Avenue talking to a female, who I won't mention by name, who was his cousin. Modell then walked up and joined the conversation. Moments later, King Von walked up to the group, produced a handgun and fired multiple times at them and then fled southbound on foot. 4 9mm shell casings were observed on the ground at the threshold of the gate at 6344 South Rhodes. A pair of bloody blue jeans were observed inside the gates near the front stairs which belonged to Miles, which paramedics cut off when they arrived at the scene. The female Miles and Modell were accompanied by confirmed the reports from the detectives and stated that a young black male dressed in all black, wearing a hooded sweatshirt, walked straight up to Modell and shot him. She also stated that Miles is not associated with any gangs but that Modell was a member of the St. Lawrence Boys faction of the gangster disciples. Another witness stated that she was home when she
that's
heard
what I just
approximately...
said. They get involved into gang violence so young, bro. They get it. That's crazy.
Only 8 gunshots. She then looked out the window and saw the offender, King Von, still on the scene shooting, as she could see muzzle flashes from his weapon. The next day, on October 14, 2012, more witnesses stepped forward while others refused to be interviewed by police because of their fear of King Von. However, one of the witnesses who were willing to step forward informed the police that the offender was a male black named Davon and that he resided in the Parkway Gardens housing project. She stated that she received this information from a member of STL/EBT, who was present at the murder and who I won't mention by name. The police later identified this person as Davon Bennett, also known as King Von. The detective was later notified that 2 individuals, one Jara City member, who I won't mention by name because he actually snitched, and Jakira Barnes, also known as K.I., were in custody for aggravated discharge of a firearm, and that the incident they were arrested for may have been retaliation for the shooting of Modell. The detectives learned that Jakira, along with the Jara City member, were arrested after they stood in front of the Parkway
Bro, did he
Gardens
just call
housing
her what? Her name was Jakira.
for the shooting of Modell. The detectives learned that Jakria,
nigga, her name is Jakira.
along with the Jaro
City
member, were
the
arrested
killer
after they
assassin.
stood in front of the Parkway Gardens housing project, shooting
A female
indiscriminately
killer
into the complex, hoping to strike anyone, not a specific target. They were simply hoping to strike any member of the Wick City faction of the Black Disciple Street Gang. Jakira refused to be interviewed by the detective, but the member from Jaro City stated that he had spoken with the member from STL/EBT regarding the shooting of Modell and Miles. He then stated that the STL member had informed him that King Von and T-Roy walked up and that King Von started shooting. The Jaro City member then agreed to view photos of the suspects in a photo array. He positively identified Devon as in the King Von he knew. However, he wasn't sure when it came to T-Roy. However, he did identify James as in the T-Roy he knew, but wasn't sure it was the person they were referring to. Several other witnesses gave the same story as this one and also identified King Von in photo arrays as the sole shooter.
Man, King Von was all over that.
What's up, y'all? How's everybody doing?
Everybody just keep identifying King Von as the shooter.
Throw me some words. I'm gonna freestyle off the top of the dome, so.
He just keep being identified as a shooter. So, but we all know. We definitely all know that it was Von. They be merching
Later,
they was merching it on their Twitter, bro. Like every time they would merch somebody, bro, I could you not, they go right on Twitter and they brag about it. Von, he diss everybody in his song, so, but he don't dry snitch. Like I ain't gonna lie, he kind of was dry snitching, but they would merch that junk in Twitter, bro. Like Twitter was their Instagram. Yeah, Twitter was their Instagram. Like back in the day when they was doing all this. They would just go on Twitter and just merch that.
2019, the detectives were contacted by the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. They requested to reopen and reinvestigate a homicide case which King Von was named as the offender in. The case was the homicide of Jakira Barnes, which occurred on April 11, 2014. It was determined that if the Cook County State's Attorney charged King Von with the murder of Jakira, attempts would be made to re-interview the potential witnesses in the Modell case. It was hoped that their cooperation would be more forthcoming if King Von were in custody and charged with first-degree murder. The hope was that the witnesses' fear of retaliation would be lessened if King Von were charged and in custody. While re-investigating the Jakira homicide, the detectives learned that King Von was shot and killed in Atlanta. Later, on April 4, 2022, the detectives contacted one of the witnesses who agreed to be interviewed. The witness stated she remembered the shooting well and knew King Von was the offender. She also said that she didn't remember any other individuals at the scene and said she was sure that King Von was
I wouldn't want to be one of the. I wouldn't want to get interviewed. that's like, especially if they know who being interviewed. Nigga, what? That's like snitching on yourself. Basically, somebody find out they know who doing this interview, nigga.
The lone gunman. The witness also explained that in 2017 to 2018, a friend of hers, who I won't mention by name, started dating King Von. She stated that her friend sent a photo of King Von to her and that she immediately recognized him as the offender who had shot Modell. She also stated that she remembered the fear that she felt upon seeing the photo. The witness informed her friend with this information and told her friend that she never wanted to be in the presence of King Von. However, Her friend continued to date King Von, but she did honor the witness request, so she never had to see or meet King Von in person. The witness was aware that King Von had been killed in Atlanta in 2020. The police proceeded to re-interview more witnesses who stated the same thing as previous statements. All the involved parties were aware of the fact that King Von had been killed in Atlanta 2020. In conclusion, the police states that this investigation has proven to the satisfaction of the Chicago Police Department that on October 13, 2012, King Von shot and killed Modell from STL/EBT while wounding and subsequently paralyzing Miles. Due to positive identification from eyewitnesses of King Von as the lone shooter, this case is now exceptionally clear due to the death of the offender.
And how is that so though? Like how was they finding that out once somebody passed away? Like they found out that Vaughn was the alleged killer of KI. Like how was that possible, my nigga? Like how is it when somebody died they could find that stuff out but didn't want to? You feel me? It probably was because of the way he was moving though, because he was smart. He was a smart, you know what I'm saying? He knew what he had to do. It was his job. You feel me? He ain't really been in no. He wasn't really in the way. But it's just like, damn.
In my conclusion, it's really crazy to see this information get confirmed in a police report. Most of us already knew that King Von was behind the murder,
Exactly.
And I have stated in several videos that both King Von and D. Roy were present. King Von has long bragged about this murder and mocked Modell on social media.
I told you.
After King Von's death in 2020, these rumors were confirmed by members of STL/EBT who uploaded stories honoring Modell because his killer had just died. I send my condolences to all families who have been affected and hope this brings some closure to their sorrow. RIP to all people who have lost their lives to gang violence.
See exactly what I'm talking about right here. Yo, they do not care, bro. Just snitch, like that's draw snitching if you ask me, bro. LA, yeah, LA was. I think LA was there too. Yo, Vaughn. That's just really crazy, bro.
So if you're looking for
that's crazy, bro. That's crazy, bro. I'm not gonna lie, bro. I just find that real crazy, man. Everybody got their little, you know what I'm saying? Everybody got their little stories or whatnot, or what go on. I've been recording this video for 21 minutes. That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know what to say. So I'm gonna just end the video here. Man, we go to the next video game.
It's